Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Wednesday. I hope you all are doing really well. Apologies for the lack of video or live stream yesterday. I was a little bit busy yesterday and I had a few things going on that sort of just got a little bit caught up with me. So by the time I got home and sorted everything out, it got to a point where it was a little bit late and I thought, oh, do you know what? We'll just sit down on Wednesday morning and talk about what we're going to talk about instead. And we are going to talk about James Rodriguez today. James Rodriguez is the topic of conversation once again amongst the majority of Evertonians, and he's going to be the topic of conversation for today's live stream. His future, will James Rodriguez stay at Everton Football Club this summer, or will he move on? Is he likely to leave Everton this summer? We done a video on James Rodriguez, a live stream, about 2 or 3 weeks ago during pre-season. I think it was during the Florida Cup times, and we spoke about why Everton should be actively trying to keep James Rodriguez and why Everton should be, pretty much doing everything they can to ensure that James Rodriguez is happy at Everton and wants to stay at the football club. Obviously, we'd had the Florida Cup, he'd featured in those games, we'd seen the training videos and pictures, he looked happy, he looked made up to be here, he looked like he was enjoying himself. We'd had, him come out and say a couple of things about, wanting to be at a club where he's loved and this, that and the other, and we just spoke about why, James Rodriguez as a footballer himself is an absolutely fantastic footballer. Talent-wise, is, arguably the most talented footballer Everton have had in a long time, certainly my lifetime, in regards to natural talent. Yes, we know his injury issues. Yes, we know his problems last season, with injuries and with spending, quite a considerable amount of time out injured. However, when he's on the pitch, we know the quality that he brings. His goals last season, the goals against West Brom, Brighton, obviously his goal against Manchester United, Leicester, the assists he managed to pick up last season as well, no better than the one at Anfield for Richarlison's goal in the opening couple of minutes of the Merseyside derby. So I think we all understand the quality that James possesses as a player, but this situation seems to have changed over the last couple of weeks or so. There's almost been a narrative on social media which was first sort of thrown out there, like I said, a few weeks ago, and is now sort of starting to be debunked. And this was this narrative that James Rodriguez desperately wants to stay at Everton Football Club. He wants to be at Everton more than he's ever wanted anything else in his entire life. And Rafa Benitez is dead against James Rodriguez, doesn't want him to be here for whatever reason, doesn't like him and wants to move him on. And that sort of narrative that people really just made up and went with on social media, it gained a lot of attention, and a lot of people then started to pick sides, whose side they were on, why, you've seen a lot of tweets like, we're a joke of a club trying to push James Rodriguez out of here when he wants to be here, why aren't we trying to keep him, why are we trying to replace James Rodriguez with Andros Townsend and this, that and the other. And the reality of the situation is, we don't know what the situation is with James Rodriguez and Everton Football Club. We don't know. We can sit here all we like and try and figure out in our heads and as to what we think is the situation, or what we think that Rafa Benitez has told him that he's not wanted. We think that James Rodriguez desperately wants to be at Everton. We can sit here and try and make up what we think and where we think the situation is at Everton Football Club. But the true reality of it is, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on with James Rodriguez. All as we know so far through Rafa Benitez is that he's had a conversation with James Rodriguez when he first come into Everton Football Club, and that's the player understands what that conversation was and where things stand. The manager understands what that conversation was and where things stand. And the reason why James isn't playing at the moment is because he is isolating, obviously, which we've known anyway, because Rafa Benitez has announced that. So all as we know at the moment is that there's a conversation that's being taken place between James Rodriguez and Rafa Benitez, and that James Rodriguez currently isn't training or isn't available to play. Obviously, he didn't play against Southampton last week. He's already ruled himself out of the game against Leeds on Saturday. He done that on his Twitch last night, which is another thing that we'll go on to talk about. James coming out and opening up on social media about stuff, which again, some will agree with, some will disagree with. But we know that the reason as to why he's not playing is because obviously he's isolating. He's come into close contact with somebody with COVID, either that or he's tested positive himself, and he's not available to return to training like the other four players that have been in a similar situation. And like any footballer across the country who comes into contact with somebody with COVID or picks up COVID themselves, they're not allowed to be around the training ground, they're not allowed to play. So in all of this, like I said, there's been stories, there's been narratives, there's been, because we've not had much context whatsoever. Like I said, with the Moise Kean situation, which we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, when Moise Kean's on Instagram putting up a story saying back soon with the fingers crossed, there's no context to that whatsoever. He could have meant back at Everton soon, he could have meant back on Instagram soon, he could have meant back at PSG soon, but because there's no context whatsoever, because he's given no explanation to that post, that means that, that those fans, Evertonians and fans of Moise Kean, that are wanting to know what's going on with him, or wanting to know what his future, where his future lies, and what, where he's going to be at the end of this transfer window, they sort of add the context themselves. That must mean he's going to PSG, he's leaving Everton. That must mean, well, it doesn't really mean he's leaving Everton. It's just a story that has been left to interpretation, and I don't think these types of things should be left to interpretation. It had taken 1 second for Moise Kean to have said, deleting my Instagram for a few weeks because it's getting on my nerves, I'll be back soon, and everyone would have gone, okay, that post is obviously about his Instagram, nothing about football whatsoever. It had taken a couple of seconds for James Rodriguez to have said a little bit more than what he said on his Twitch channels, to give a little bit more context to situations, rather than feeding a narrative that mightn't exist whatsoever. Like I said, the narrative has changed over the last couple of weeks with James. It really, really has. We've gone from most Evertonians, again, obviously in the first couple of weeks of Rafa Benitez's era, still not quite being used to Rafa Benitez being the Everton manager, maybe still not quite liking it, and then this comes out that, James Rodriguez might be leaving and he mightn't want to stay at Everton Football Club, and then James is coming out on Twitch saying, I just want to be somewhere where I'm loved, and there's rumours that, Everton have told him that he's up for sale, and like I said, it creates this narrative that Everton want, or Rafa Benitez wants James Rodriguez out, and James Rodriguez doesn't want to leave, when it's not as simple as that. In my opinion, it's really, really not as simple as that. We don't know that conversation that's been had between Rafa Benitez and James Rodriguez. That conversation might have been Rafa Benitez sitting down with James going, listen, we all want you at the football club. You're an excellent player. You've got the, you technically you're an absolutely wonderful footballer. You're a global superstar in regards to marketing wise. We want to keep you at the football club. However, you're going to need to work a little bit harder than what you were working under the previous manager. You're not going to get that preferential treatment that you had under Carlo Ancelotti, because let's be honest, he had preferential treatment over everybody else when managed by Carlo Ancelotti. James Rodriguez could have been out for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and as soon as he comes back to fitness, he's straight back in the team, and that might be the right decision. I'm not saying that's right, I'm not saying that's wrong. Like I said, technically he's the best footballer at the club, so maybe that's the right decision for Carlo Ancelotti to do, but Rafa Benitez isn't going to do that. We know why James Rodriguez is an Everton player. He's an Everton player because of Carlo Ancelotti. We know that. He said it himself. He literally come out on his Twitch stream a week or so ago and said that I come to Everton because of Carlo, and now Carlo's not here. We've known that. When he first done his interview, he said he's come to Everton because of Everton and because of Carlo. Now, all of a sudden, it's just because of Carlo. But that's not something that, again, it's a surprise. We all know that. We all knew that, and the minute that Carlo Ancelotti walked out the door at Everton, the first questions we were sort of asking and we were wondering was, well, is this going to be the end for James Rodriguez? Is this going to be the end for James? Because, he's only here for Carlo, and now Carlo's gone, so is he going to leave? And then we had this sort of weird week or two where it was like, no, I'm dead happy here, I want to stay here for forever, and then it was sort of the club saying, that he was maybe up for sale. We don't know what that conversation was. As I said, it could have been a simple, listen mate, you don't fit into our plans, you're not reliable enough because of injuries, because of your injury issues, and if we get a decent enough bid in the last year of your contract, if we get a decent enough bid, we're going to move you on. Or it could have been Rafa Benitez simply saying, listen, we want you at the football club, you're an excellent footballer, your talent speaks for itself, but you're going to have to work a little bit harder, you're going to have to commit yourself a little bit harder, you're going to have to train a couple of more days a week, you're going to have to, fight your way into the side, because again, Rafa Benitez notoriously over the years is a manager that will not give preferential treatment to any player whatsoever, regardless of your quality, because it sends out the wrong message to the rest of the squad. I was talking to Baz on Toffee TV yesterday, and he said, we all want excellent players, we all want the best players, we all want the most technical players, but if you've got James Rodriguez, and I'm not saying this is the situation, by the way, but if you've got James Rodriguez who's strolling around on the training field or not really working hard in games and, you know, maybe only training a few times a week or getting preferential treatment as to when he can leave or what he can do or how hard he has to work, and he's in the team every week, and you've got a lad at Damari Gray or an Andros Townsend working their absolute, for lack of a better word, balls off every single day, but they're not getting in the team because James Rodriguez is quality is a much is much bigger than Damari Gray's. What sort of a message does that give out to your Damari Grays, your Andros Townsend, your other players in the squad? They're thinking, well, hang on, doesn't matter how hard I work, doesn't matter how hard I train, doesn't matter how much I give to this football club, he's going to get in over me, even though he's not giving anywhere near as much because he's a better footballer. You know, there's a saying on the wall at USM Finch Farm, and it's been there for years, and it said hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that saying rings true in many a situation, and I feel like this one is the same as well. James Rodriguez is an unbelievable footballer, and I want James Rodriguez to stay because I think Everton will really, really struggle to replace that his quality. Don't forget anything else. Everton will struggle to replace the 6 goals and 9 assists or whatever he got last season. We will. That's fact. We've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison who score goals in this Everton team. Nobody else, barring James Rodriguez. So forget all of the politics behind it. Forget the injuries. Forget the Rafa Benitez situation. Everton will struggle to replace the goals and assists that James Rodriguez clocked last season, even though even given the fact that he clocked them in a season where he was out for large parts of it through injury as well. However, like I said, that big saying that, you know, that is on as our Finch Farm, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and maybe Rafa Benitez isn't seeing enough from James Rodriguez. Maybe he's not seeing him work hard enough. Maybe he's not seeing him want enough. Maybe he's not seeing him go the extra yard in training, work, you know, the extra 15, 20 minutes after, you know, put those extra hours in that other players are doing. Maybe that's the case. And, you know, I seen something yesterday which was, you know, again, you know, it's having hard work isn't good enough. You know, hard work isn't enough as a professional footballer. That's true. But talent isn't enough either. Talent isn't enough. Hard work isn't enough. You've got to have a little bit of talent. I can work hard. I could go down to Finch Farm now and run around for a few hours, but I'm not going to be anywhere near the quality of any of those Everton players. Even the likes of Fabian Delph, who obviously, you know, again, I'm sure most Evertonians will want to leave the club this summer. I'm not anywhere near the quality of any player that's currently at Finch Farm now, but I'll turn up and I'll work hard. So you're right, hard work isn't good enough. But just being talented isn't good enough either. Just being talented isn't good enough. You know, you can't just turn up and stroll around the pitch and, you know, expect everything to come to you because you're naturally talented. And I'm not saying James does that, by the way. I'm not, you know, James might be one of the hardest working players at the training field, but I'm just saying that's another narrative to look at the situation, isn't it? If we're going to sit here and go, oh yeah, James desperately wants to stay here and works dead hard and gives 110% every time he puts an Everton shirt on, and Rafa Benitez just doesn't want him, then and there's no fact to back that up, that's just a narrative that's being created on social media, then we have to look at other sides of the narrative as maybe James isn't working hard enough for what Rafa Benitez wants. Maybe he just doesn't do enough on the training field. Maybe he just doesn't give enough. Maybe he's not reliable enough. Maybe Rafa Benitez has said to him, listen, you can be a member of this squad next season and we want you to be a member of this squad, but you won't be starting week in, week out because we can't rely on you, because you might pick up an injury and then we have to change the entire squad around. We have to change the entire team around. So, and maybe we won't play with a formation that favours a number 10 this season. We've seen on obviously the opening game of the season, we played a 4-3-3 to start, and then we switched to a traditional 4-4-2. So maybe Rafa Benitez has said that, listen, you know, even if you're fit, doesn't mean that we're going to play in a formation that suits you. You might have to start on the bench, and maybe James has gone, no, I don't like that. I want to start every game. We don't know. Again, I'm just throwing different scenarios out there, but the reality of the situation is we do not know. We don't know. You know, we don't know what's going on. And as I said before, this whole narrative of James really wants to be at Everton and it's Everton that don't want James, I don't believe it. And we will get in the live comments in a moment. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. If you could share the stream, it would mean a great deal to me. But I don't believe it. I don't believe that it's as sort of plain sailing as that what the player wants to stay and the club don't want him. If James Rodriguez wanted to stay at Everton Football Club, he wouldn't be coming out on Twitch TV, or Twitch.tv, whatever it's called, every 10 seconds, and, talking about how, he doesn't know where he's going to be next season and this, that and the other. He'd be coming out and saying, either ignoring the questions because he's not got a legal obligation to answer every comment he gets on Twitch. He's a multi-million-pound professional footballer. He's a global superstar. He's a global icon. He streams a bit of Call of Duty for the laugh every couple of nights. That's no problem with that whatsoever. But James Rodriguez has got no legal obligation to answer those questions that are put to him in that Twitch TV chat. He could stream Call of Duty for an hour and a half and not even look at the chat and not even engage in the chat if he wants, because he's James Rodriguez. But he picks out these questions about his future, where he's going to be, whether he'll be at Everton, saying things like, I don't know where I'll be next season, I just want to be somewhere where I'm loved, saying things like, what else did he come out the other day and say about his future? He won't be playing on Saturday. Now, he come out more recently and said, Everton have got a game on Saturday against Leeds, I won't be playing. Now, the reason as to why he won't be playing is either because he'll still be isolating, or he will have only just returned from isolation. Similar situation to Jean-Philippe Gbamin. Jean-Philippe Gbamin wasn't in the squad on Saturday for our win against Southampton. He wasn't still isolating, he'd been back in training. I think he returned to training on the Thursday or the Friday before the game. The reason he wasn't in the squad is because the manager deemed him not fit enough or not have had enough time to prepare for the match day, because he'd only just returned from isolation, or he'd only just returned from being back in training. So that was the situation with Jean-Philippe Gbamin. No, is he going to leave the football club? No, what's going on? It was, okay, well, he's not in the squad, which is strange because he's back from isolation. We've known that. We've seen him in the training videos. We've seen him in the training pictures. We've seen him when Richarlison returned to the football club. We saw him, obviously, in that photo. The reason he wasn't in the squad is because the manager deemed that he hadn't had enough time to prepare for the game because of being out, and unavailable to train with the squad for however long it was before that. Maybe that's the James Rodriguez situation. Now, would it have really taken too much of James Rodriguez's time to, at the end of that sentence, after he said, I'm not, Everton have got a game on Saturday, I won't be playing, would it have taken him so much of his time to say, because I'm still isolating, or because I don't return to training until the weekend and I'm not going to be ready for the game? Because then everyone would go, well, that's why he's not playing, because he's still isolating, or because he's not going to have had enough time to train or prepare or be ready for the game. Whereas just saying, Everton have got a game on the weekend, I'm not playing, almost makes it look like, well, you've made that. Have you made that decision? Have the club made that decision? Are you just saying on your social media platform now? Because let's be honest, and again, speaking to Ped about this yesterday, and Ped said it, James isn't talking to Evertonians when he's saying that. He's not talking to Everton fans saying he's not playing, or he's talking to his fans, his own fans, his own fan base, the fans that follow him from club to club all over the years. That's who he's talking to. He's saying, the club I currently play for now, Everton, have got a game on Saturday, I won't be playing in it. Effectively saying, don't bother watching it because I won't be there. But no, he's saying, I won't be there, I won't be playing in it. Now, again, the lack of context of that statement, the lack of information behind that statement, leads there to be discussion, leads there to be, well, why aren't you playing? Is that because you're leaving? Is that because you're not fit? Have you made that decision of the club? Now, for all we know, Rafa Benitez might have phoned James Rodriguez up, yesterday before he streamed, or whenever it was, the other day before he streamed, and said, obviously your isolation finishes on this day, you're due back in training on this day, you're probably not going to be involved for the Leeds game because of lack of preparation and training, etc., but we'll hope to get you involved in the game after. And James might have gone, sound, if I'm still here, absolutely sound. And he could have come out and recited that conversation and said, I've spoken to the manager, he said, because I won't have had enough training, I won't be involved on Saturday, but hopefully I'll be involved next week. And that would have just killed every bit of sort of speculation and gone, what's going on out here? That'd have killed it all, and we'd have got the context behind the situation, and we'd have got why he isn't playing. He knows why he won't be playing on Saturday. James knows why he won't be playing. Of course he does, because he mentioned this on a Tuesday, and the game's 5 days later. So it's little things like that you sort of look at and you think, if James desperately wanted to play for Everton, if he desperately wanted to be here, then he wouldn't be coming out and answering those questions on Twitch about his future. He wouldn't be coming out and saying things like Everton play, but I won't be there, or I won't be playing. He'd just come out, and if he answered any question, he'd just come out and say, yeah, maybe, I don't know where my future holds, but I like playing for this football club, and I can't wait to play for this football club again. I hope to play in front of the fans at Goodison Park for the first time. He's not mentioned the fans once. He's not said anything about the fans, or playing in front of the fans at Goodison Park. He's not mentioned it. So, does he want to play for Everton as much as some people believe he wants to play for Everton? I don't think he does. Of course, again, he's an excellent footballer, an unbelievable footballer. And if he stays past the transfer window, then we'll back him. We'll absolutely back him. Of course, we will. I'll back him. I love him. I can't wait to see him in an Everton shirt. I would have loved for him to have been there on Saturday, because I think his decision or his mindset would have changed an awful lot on Saturday had he have been there to witness that, witness those fans and witness the crowd and witness the atmosphere, etc, etc. But there's loads and loads and loads and loads of different situations here, different scenarios that are being thrown out there, and only one of them can be the truth. And the reality is, we won't know the truth until he's gone, or in years' time when somebody comes out and talks about it. We won't know the truth of this situation. But it's an interesting one, because the question of the live stream is, will James Rodriguez leave Everton this summer? My gut feeling is yes. Yes, he will leave Everton this summer, because I just think that his agent will be actively, and if you believe the rumours in the media, his agent is actively looking for a move for him. His agent is actively looking for a new football club for him, and I think at this stage, James Rodriguez will leave to any football club really that come in for him. I just think he wants a new challenge. I just think he wants a different club. That's just my feeling. Again, I don't know anything that nobody else knows, and I'm not having inside information to know that. That's just my gut feeling, is that if we get a bid for James Rodriguez, he will leave. But we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago when we talked about whether or not Everton should let him go. Let's look at the logistics behind the James Rodriguez situation. Everton, obviously, we know, are absolutely, we're in financial fair play terms, we're done. We've got no leeway whatsoever. We can't spend any real money. Obviously, we know all of this. James Rodriguez is on nearly £200,000 a week at Everton Football Club. Point number one. He's in the last year of his contract. Point number two. So if he doesn't leave this summer, he walks on a free next summer. And he had real big injury problems last season. He only played 25 games out of whatever it was, a possible 45, something like that, 44, something like that. So those three components there, his injury record, which will likely worsen this season. I don't think he'll play 25 games. You might get 20, 22 games out of him. His wage, and the fact that he's out of contract next summer. Now, and 4 points, FFP situation. Now, if Everton get a £8 million, £10 million bid for James Rodriguez with a week and a half to go with the transfer window, you then bringing in a fee that you wouldn't get at any other point, because obviously he's out of contract next summer. You can use that fee to reinvest in other areas, or at least go towards reinvesting in other areas. You're losing the massive wage that he's on, and you are obviously, again, you don't have to worry about his injury record. Financially and business-wise, moving James Rodriguez on makes sense for Everton. Now, maybe that was the conversation had between Rafa Benitez. I don't know. Maybe Rafa Benitez said, listen, we want you to work hard, we want you to battle, we want you to, but just to let you know, financially, we might have to move you on. And then maybe James has gone to his agent, right, okay, get on the phone, go, it works for both of us. These need to move me on. I wouldn't mind a new challenge. Go and find me another club. Who knows what the situation is? Who knows? Let's get into the live comments anyway. If you are enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Why not subscribe? It literally takes a second. We're live nearly every day, talking about the latest Everton news nearly every single day. I'll actually be down in Leeds on Saturday to watch the game. So we'll have an instant match reaction outside of Ellen Road, hopefully, depending on the result. So yeah. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like the stream, share on social media, all of that good stuff. You know the score. Jack is probably the most gifted player we've ever had, and people are turning on him. I ain't let it get to me once. He probably sat there watching you all stress on YouTube. He does his stream on Twitch. I'm not turning on him whatsoever. I'm not turning on him whatsoever. If James Rodriguez stays, I'll back him like I'll back any Everton player. If they stay, I think James Rodriguez, technically, as you've said, Jack, arguably the most gifted footballer we've had in a long time. Certainly the most gifted footballer I've ever seen at Everton in terms of technical ability. But there's other variables that go alongside this. In order for fans to be turning on him, it would let's put it out this way. Let's say the truth comes out tomorrow, and the truth is that Everton have told James that, listen, if a bid comes in, we're going to look at it. We're gonna, we might accept it because of our financial situation and because of the fact that, again, the differences between the manager, whatever, we might accept it. And James has gone, okay, sound, fair enough. I'll go and get, I'll come for Carlo. Carlo's gone now, so this is my chance to get out. I'll instruct my agent, and he'll go and look for other clubs. And both parties have gone, sound, happy days with that. Would we all be sitting here saying, oh, we can't turn on James, if we knew actively that James Rodriguez wanted out of Everton Football Club? If he desperately wanted to be here, he wouldn't be coming out and saying a lot of the things that he's saying on social media. He'd either be ignoring the comments, or he'd just be saying flat out, I want to play for Everton, I can't wait to play for Everton, I can't wait to play in front of the fans at Goodison Park. Even if it was a load of crap, even if it was a lie, even if it was a load of utter nonsense, he'd come out and say it, because it'd make him look like, okay, he wants to stay here. If he really wanted to push this and being forced out the club narrative that some people think that it's not that he's pushing it anyway, but some people seem to think that that's the situation. If he wanted to run with that, he could easily run with it by saying, oh, I just want to play in front of the fans at Goodison Park, I just want to experience that, I love playing for Everton. And then if we sold him, everyone would go, well, hang on, he said all of this. He's not saying any of that, is he? He's not saying any of that. Jack the lad says, you should back him anyway, lad. I do back him. I back him until the minute he leaves Everton. I've got nothing against James Rodriguez, but the question of the live stream is, will he leave Everton this summer? And I think he will, and I'm just trying to put some context behind the situation, because I'll also back Rafa Benitez, because Rafa Benitez is the Everton manager. So it's not fair for us to sit here and back James Rodriguez and go against the Everton manager when I'm not taking either side, because there's no side to take in this situation. There's absolutely no side to take, because you can't take sides until you know every single element of the situation or every single element of the conversation, and we don't know that. But I'm just trying to give another narrative as to that. Maybe James doesn't want to be here. Maybe James doesn't fit the plans, and maybe that's the reason as to why, a lot of these conversations are being had. Liam says we should back a player who clearly wants outside. Again, yeah, listen, we'll wait and see what happens, won't we? We'll wait and see what happens. If he doesn't want to be at Everton Football Club, then I say it with every player, mate, every single player. This is why I love Richarlison so much, because Richarlison wants to be at Everton. If Richarlison come out tomorrow and said they don't want to be here, I'd say there's the door, mate. We'll sell you, we'll make a bit of money from you, reinvest. But he doesn't. He comes out and he talks openly about how much he loves this football club, how much he wants to be here, how much he'll give 110% for the fans and for the football club, for the time that he's here. And that's why I love Richarlison. Any player that actively doesn't want to be at Everton, then they can leave the football club, in my opinion. We don't know that that's 100% the situation with James, but I have an inkling that he maybe doesn't want to be here as much as some fans think that he does want to be here. Anyway, Chris says, end of the day, Real and Bayern didn't want anything to do with him in the end. Clearly something is wrong with the player's attitude, commitment, something we don't see behind closed doors. Celtic Babe says, my opinion is that once Carlo left, James decided to go. Well, again, that was the opinion that I think a lot of us sort of, assumed, didn't he, really? I think we even said on one of the live streams when Carlo left, this might spell the end of James Rodriguez at Everton, and obviously we had the Florida Cup, and, the marketing behind James Rodriguez, and maybe his agent said to him, listen, James, Everton are going over to Florida, you've been marketed as, the icon, come and watch James Rodriguez play in Florida, come and watch, Colombian superstar James. If you just hold on for the Florida Cup and act like everything's alright and act like you're loving things and act like you're dead happy here, then, I don't know, it'll be a lot easier getting a move, because the club will be a lot, happier with you in that situation. And then obviously after the Florida Cup, we can then actively go and look for a move for you. Because that seems to be what's happened. He was dead happy over in Florida, loved it here, dead good on the training videos, and everybody, including myself, was saying, this fella's boss, keep him forever, he's absolutely amazing. And all of a sudden, that's changed over the last couple of weeks or so. or seemingly it seems to have changed with his attitude and sort of, again, some of the things that he's coming out and saying. John Jones says, Zidane, Raga and Colombia manager didn't want him, he only came here for Carlo. Why would James love Everton? Good point. Ben says, I've been plastering my Facebook walls with your videos on Toffee TV over the past couple of months. Cam, enjoying the content, keep it coming. Nice one, Ben, really appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much, my friend. Really do appreciate it. It means a massive amount to me. Thank you very much, Ben. Jack Lad says, you should back him anyway, lad. Again, like I said, if he wants to leave Everton, like any player, he can free to leave Everton, but as long as he's still an Everton player, then we back him, obviously, because if he plays for Everton next week, then we want him to do well, obviously. He's an excellent footballer, and that's my biggest worry if he leaves, is how do we replace the goals and assists that he brought to this squad next season? We would have to, for me, if Everton allow James Rodriguez to leave this summer, it wouldn't be the biggest issue in the world, but it would be a massive, massive problem if Everton didn't have a player, or a little bit like Aston Villa did with Jack Grealish, 2 or 3 players in there to replace him. We can't allow James Rodriguez to leave and then sit back and go, right, what next? Who's available? Who do we go out and get now? We need that plan needs to be in place. That needs to be in place. We need to be sat there in the board, and Rafa Benitez and Marcel Brands, specifically Marcel Brands, because it's his job. Every single day he goes into USM Finch Farm, he should be spending a couple of hours of his day on this situation. A couple of hours thinking, right, if James Rodriguez leaves this summer, who can I bring in to replace those qualities? Who can I bring in to replace the goals that he scored last season, the assists that he got last season, the creativity that he brings? Who can I bring in, either one player or multiple players, to replace that? We can't sell James Rodriguez or allow him to leave and then be sat here going, right, we've allowed the most technical footballer at the club to leave. He got, whatever it was, 5 goals, 6 goals, 9 assists last season, and now we don't know who we're going to replace him with. We can't do that. We simply can't do that. Where are we then? Do you reckon we'll get 20 plus million for James? Says Liam. No, I don't. Liam also says, you seem to know a lot more about him than me, Jack, so I can't argue, mate. Maybe he is worth all the hassle and the money. John says, nobody will buy him, nobody has the money, Rafa won't play him, so it's not a good scenario, but hope it will turn out okay. There you go. Liam says he's letting his fans know. Most of our fans don't seem to be James fans, but we are James fans. However, he has his own set of fans. I said this a couple of weeks ago, when you get to a certain level of fame in football, your Lionel Messi's, your Cristiano Ronaldo's, your Kylian Mbappe's, your James Rodriguez's, you aren't only followed by the fans of the football club you're playing for, you're followed by your own set of fans. So James Rodriguez will have fans that, if he leaves Everton, will go and support the football club that he joins, in the same way as that Lionel Messi had fans that, when he left Barcelona, will now be supporting PSG, will now be buying PSG gear, because they follow the player. And some fans don't like that about football, but that's football in this day and age. It's as simple as that. That is football. Certain footballers, the best footballers, the biggest footballers in the world, have their own fan bases, and James Rodriguez will address those fans, his own fans, probably more than what he will address Evertonians. And maybe Evertonians fall in that bracket of his own fans because we support him, because he plays for Everton and we support him, but he's got his own fans as well, obviously, we know that. Stephen says, no player is bigger than Everton, come on you Blues, roll on Saturday. Chris says, you have to question his professionalism 5 days before the game, stating that you won't be playing. That message should come from the club or the manager, not the player. And that's my point, mate, and that's my point. Again, it's the lack of context for me. James could have come out and said, Everton play on Saturday, I won't be playing, and I can tell you that because I'll still be isolating, so I know I won't be playing. And that wouldn't be too bad of a situation. Yeah, it'd have still been nice to have heard it from the club or Rafa Benitez, etc. But you'd have gone, well, he's only really telling us what we already know. He's still isolating and he won't be available there. So there you go. But coming out and saying Everton play on Saturday, on a Tuesday, by the way, and I won't be playing, it leaves you to that sort of, it's the questions, isn't it? It's the questions, then. Why won't you be playing? Is that because you're leaving? Is that because you don't want to play? Is that because you can't be bothered? Is that because you're not ready to play? Are you still isolating? Will you only just have returned to training? What's going on? Why won't you be playing? And I agree. I think Everton had been on the phone to James Rodriguez saying you can't just make those. Has he made that decision, or have Everton made that decision? For all we know, listen. Again, let me give you 2 situations here. James Rodriguez returns to training on Friday afternoon out of isolation, and that's the reason he's not playing on Saturday. The club know that, the player knows that, he's told us all of that. Bish bash bosh. Let me give you another situation, which I don't know, by the way. I don't know when he returns to training from his isolation. I don't know when his isolation's up. Imagine the situation is that James returns to training today or yesterday, and the club are wanting him to play on Saturday and think he will be available to play on Saturday, and then he's come out himself on his Twitch channel and said, oh no, I won't be playing. Has he made that decision? Have the club made that decision? Who knows? Where are we then? Where are we? Peter says, morning Cam, morning mate. Maud says, hello Cam lad, not been on the stream for a week or so just updating my internet to start streaming. You'll be starting streaming more, is right mate. Happy days. I personally feel James has made his mind up. I only want players who want to be at Everton, yeah. Brady says, Cam, I worked out if Everton beat everyone except Man City, Chelsea, Man United from now until Boxing Day, we have 51 points. How realistic is that, though? How realistic is that Everton beat everybody except those three teams? We will drop points, of course we will. Because we're not Man City, we're not Chelsea, we're not United. We won't beat every team we expect to beat. Put it that way. John says the only way we can keep him is if Rafa will play him, and right now it doesn't seem that he will. That is his issue. Well, again, he's isolating, isn't he, at the moment, so he wasn't even available to play against Southampton. He played against Manchester United the week before, and did he do really anything of note against Manchester United in the pre-season friendly? Not for me. So, James Rodriguez has to prove to Rafa Benitez that he should be in this Everton team, that he should be playing, in my opinion. More says, to be fair, Townsend and Gray make up James' stats all day. I don't know whether they make up his goals, mate, to be honest with you. His goals is the biggest thing for me. Will Damari Gray and Andros Townsend pick up 7-8 goals this season? I hope so, but I don't know. I don't know. I really do hope so, though, because, again, the pair of them looked really, really good the other day. We'll get back into the chat in a moment. Adam says, going off Saturday, it's understandable as to why James is moving on his wages, replacing him with another creative outlet out wide who can move seems like a preferable option. There you go. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get back into the conversation then. James Rodriguez obviously put up a little social media post on the other day. I think he put it on Twitter and Instagram. It was a selfie of himself and a caption that was very, very familiar to a lot of footballing fans. I'm not going to read the caption out because it's in Spanish and I don't want to butcher the pronunciation, but it was basically a quote or a caption, and he had the soon emoji afterwards, and basically, if you don't know about this situation, the caption he used was a very, very, very known phrase used by Atletico Madrid fans over in Spain. They have a banner of this phrase that he captioned his photo with, that's on the stadium. You can see the pictures, and it's a very known phrase that that Atletico Madrid and their fans and as a football club have used for a long, long time. James Rodriguez captioned one of his selfies with it on Twitter. He also had the soon emoji, and that obviously led to masses amounts of speculation about whether or not it will be Atletico Madrid that James Rodriguez will be leaving for this summer. Now we know this by the fact that before James Rodriguez signed for Everton, Atletico Madrid were in for him, wanted him actively, but that deal stalled because Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid obviously had their differences, being rivals, but they were interested in bringing the player into the football club. Fast forward, whatever it was, 12, 18 months later, James Rodriguez may be leaving Everton Football Club, and he puts up a caption of the banner or the quote that is used famously by Atletico Madrid and their fans. Now, James Rodriguez has since come out after doing that and saying he had no idea. I will read the quote out from James Rodriguez a couple of days ago, which he addressed the situation in itself. He said, I didn't know that the motto has to do with this team, Atletico Madrid. Nothing to do with it. I put it on because I have faith it will be a good season. I'm not going there. It was just a coincidence. So the quote itself, for anybody that is is wondering. I don't even know if he's deleted it yet. No, he hasn't deleted it. It's Nunce Dijas Di Cre, and he put the smiley face emoji and then the soon emoji next to it. Now it translates to never stop believing in Spanish, so it makes a little bit of sense for him to just put that up on its own. Why would he not just put that up? Never stop believing. It's not out the realms of possibility, but it is quite ironic that quote itself is a quote that the Atletico Madrid fans have got in a banner. They use it as a motto of the club. James there coming out a day or so later and saying, no, it wasn't anything to do with Atletico Madrid. It was a pure coincidence because I think it'll be a good season and I won't be going to Atletico Madrid. Interesting, really, really interesting, because again, it almost seems like he's read. James has read the fallout on Twitter. He's read the Evertonians saying, hang on, that quote that you've used there is used often by Atletico Madrid fans, so are you inadvertently, cryptically trying to tell us that you're going to Atletico Madrid? He's obviously seen this fallout on social media because he's addressed it again via his Twitch channel. Again, he's come out and denied that it had anything to do with Atletico Madrid. He's come out and said he hopes it'll be a good season, and yeah, he won't be leaving and going to Atletico Madrid, which, again, he wasn't really linked with Atletico Madrid, was he, to be honest with you, other than before he signed for Everton when he was heavily linked with them. So, interesting, really, really, really interesting, again, for him to come out and address that situation, and come out and again talk about his future and not mention Everton. You know, he could have come out there and said, I'm an Everton player, I want to play for Everton, I like playing for Everton, I just put that quote up because I like the quote and I think it'll be a good season. Or he could have just said exactly what he said, but after I've got faith it'll be a good season, he could have put at Everton at the end of it, but he didn't. He left that open to, again, interpretation, and left it open for context to be thrown in there that mightn't be the situation whatsoever. Yeah, there you go. Interesting. Will James Rodriguez stay at Everton Football Club beyond this summer? Who knows? He's saying an awful lot on social media. I almost expect something else to come out over the next couple of days or so, maybe even today, that he said on social media or on his Twitch channel about his future and whether or not he'll be at Everton for the foreseeable future. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But he's quite adamant there that, you know, he won't be going to Atletico Madrid. We know Atletico obviously are rivals with Real. But let's wait and see. Interesting situation, certainly. I think the narrative with the James Rodriguez situation for me has changed a lot over the last 2 or 3 weeks or so. It's gone from, you know, the majority of Evertonians saying, oh my God, why are we trying to push this player out who clearly doesn't want to leave, to actually us maybe becoming a bit more privy to the situation and going, maybe he doesn't want to be here as much as we originally first thought he wants to be here. But look, we'll wait and see. I mean, the reality of the James Rodriguez situation is we will only sell him if a club comes in for him. And it's a bit weird for me, the situation, because this is a fella who technically is absolutely unbelievable. Yes, he has his injury problems, we know that, but technically is absolutely unbelievable. You know, still technically on his day, one of the best footballers in the world. Globally is an absolute superstar, a global superstar. And yet Everton or there's been rumours that Everton will be happy to let him go. There's been rumours that Everton will be happy to, move him on. The player is coming out and discussing his future, and yet nobody really seems to have shown any real solid interest in the player. It confuses me, if I'm being honest with you. It confuses me because, again, James is, like I said, global superstar, fantastic player on his day. If he's going to be leaving Everton, why haven't we got teams knocking on the door? Why haven't we got teams in Italy and Spain and Germany knocking, saying, we'll take him off your hands, we'll have him for 5-10 million, happy days? Why isn't that happening? I don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more on James Rodriguez's future over the next coming days and weeks, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot more on it as well. If you're enjoying, by the way, so far, please hit that like button. If we get to 50 likes before the end of the season, that'd be amazing. We're on 43 now, so if you could hit that thumbs up button, it would mean a great deal to me. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we'll have loads more content over the next couple of days or so, as always. Glenn says, hi Cam, what's occurring? What's happening, Glenn? John says, nailed it. More, it's all down to Rafa playing him. Human says, I think his post was more of meant to be a supplemental diss at Carlo. I don't know, because if it was, then I would have loved him to have come out and said, yeah, I knew exactly what the quote was. I knew exactly why which team uses the quote, but it wasn't anything to do with the transfer. It was to do with something else. But he didn't. He's come out and said he didn't know that Atletico used that quote. So, John says because after COVID, nobody can pay 200 grand a week. Maybe that's the situation. Maybe teams just can't afford James Rodriguez, and if that's the case, then he'll be an Everton player, won't he, next season, and we'll have to ensure that he can be utilised. Maud says it is right, John. There's a communication issue, but the narrative is pointing all fault with James. Maud says if he stays this season the way it is, we have a sniper rifle and manager without the license to use him. The real question is, can Rafa and James work together for both their future? Good point, mate. Good point. Listen, if he stays beyond this season, then that's definitely a question that we'll be asking on the live stream. Might even do a separate live stream on that, mate, because it's a really, really interesting one. If James Rodriguez is to stay, can Rafa Benitez and James Rodriguez work together? Can Everton utilise the qualities of James Rodriguez? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. John says we should be giving our love to Decore, Dean, Gray, Alan, who love to be here. I love James as a player, and I think he will stay. There you go. Fair enough. John says if my manager said he didn't want me, I would also want to leave. Well, we don't know that's the rumour. That's the rumour that's in the news, in the media. We don't know that's exactly... the rumour could be... Listen, this could have all come out from... Rafa Benitez saying to James, listen, you're an amazing player, you're great, etc, etc. However, you're going to have to work a little bit harder, and you're not guaranteed a place. You're not just going to be getting in every single week off the merit that you're James Rodriguez. You're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to battle, and there'll be some times when you're not in the starting 11. There'll be some games when Anzos is playing or Damari's playing over you, and that might have been interpreted as for that to get out to the media to go, Rafa Benitez doesn't want James Rodriguez. We don't know the full extent of the situation. But like I said, we aren't privy to that conversation that was had between the player and the manager. So we can't categorically sit here and say, this is what's happening, this is the situation we're in, because we don't know. Human says if James stays, but he wants to go, how much effort will he be given this year? Last year, you can say he only did as much of it because of Carlo. There you go. Glenn says, Cam, did you like the thong song for a DCL, or do you prefer something more simple? I don't know the thong song, mate. I think you commented, didn't you, on the Daily Extra, the Toffee TV yesterday, Glenn, when I was in the studio, and I heard a lot of different DCL songs, so I can't really remember which one it was, but I don't think I know that one. Human says if James stays but wants to go. Oh, you just read that one out. Thomas says, I love Richie as much as you do, Cam. How long do you think he'll stay for, though? I think we will be lucky if Richarlison's and Everton... It depends on what Everton achieve this season. If Everton blow everybody out the water and achieve, I don't know, let's say European football next season. Let's say we're playing Europa League football next season, which would be a big, big task. But let's say we are, and we should be in and around those positions, by the way. Let's say we finish 6th next season. I think you might see Richarlison stay, maybe for another year, maybe give it a run in Europe. If Everton fail to finish in Europe next season, or this season, if Everton finish again 10th, 9th, 11th, whatever it may be again, then I think this could be the last season that Richarlison's an Everton player. And to be fair, I wouldn't massively blame him. This lad's a gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist. This lad has won the Copa America with Brazil before. The goals that he scored in the Premier League, this lad deserves to be playing Champions League football. He's good enough. He's better than most attacking players playing in the Champions League this season, never mind Europa League. So yeah, I think depending on where we finish this season, I think we'll know about Richarlison's future. John says, right, Cam, if we knew all the details we would not be on here. Yeah, spot on. Eugene says Southampton make small approach. Chris says I gave up on James after the Fulham game last season. He didn't want any of it, and in my opinion faked an injury that day just to get off the pitch. Jack says he can't speak English properly. It's pretty common expression, just Atletico's motto. Neil Satters Nizzy Optim is our motto as well. What are people on about? Yeah. What would be boss, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be dead good if James just put a picture up on Twitter, a selfie of him fully rigged out in Everton gear, shin pads, footy boots, captain's armband, all of that, and just add up the effing Soffies as a caption? That'd just be amazing, wouldn't it? That'd just be absolutely amazing. Peter says thoughts on Hope. I saw some highlights on YouTube. He looks well rounded, and I'd like to see him in the team, especially if his price tag is 4 million or 2. Yeah, good young player. Obviously centre forward, American centre forward, playing for Schalke. Yeah, I think he'd be a great signing. I don't think he'd necessarily go in straight away. I don't think he'd certainly wouldn't be starting straight away for Everton, but Very, very good player with a big future ahead of him. John says, need to know what we have to do to be able to spend big next year. Yeah. Where are we then? Where are we? Chris says, I'd be fuming if I was his teammate, taking away attention from a real positive performance at the weekend. The guy just feeds off attention, all about me. Maud says, look, Richarlison is gold standard. We need to raise our game to keep him. Stadium and vision is all positive, but we need to achieve more to achieve what he's worth to us. Yeah, I agree. Couldn't disagree more, mate. He also says, I'm happy to get involved in the debate. Is right, Mort, is right. What's it, Kieran says, Glenn, I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. Brady says, Cam, what's your view on Matheus Nunes? Is he a centre-attack midfielder? Also, Carrera a centre-attack midfielder, and if we sell Moise and James, we'll be able to get Buten and Zakaria for depth in midfield. I like Matheus Nunes. I think he's not a centre-attack. He's more of an 8. He's more of an 8, I believe. He'd be a good signing, but for the money that Sporting are currently wanting, Everton simply can't afford it with our financial situation. Carrera as well. Yeah, I think he costs far too much money, to be honest with you. Zakaria would be a great signing, by the way, and I don't know an awful lot about Booth. He's a good player, but I don't know whether he's good enough. Thomas says, Cam, do you think Dumfries is as big as a miss as people are making out to be? PSV fans saying not great defensively. I don't think he is, to be honest with you, and I'll give you one reason why. Is because prior to the Euros, we were linked with Denzel Dumfries, and not a lot of Blues knew an awful lot about him. Obviously, we were still a little bit frustrated that we weren't signing Max Allen, so when Denzel Dumfries' name was brought into it, we were sort of like, Denzel Dumfries, yeah, he's an alright defender, and then obviously he went to the Euros and blew it up, and then it became the end of the world that we weren't signing him. So there'll be another name, hopefully on Marcel Brands' list, that we have a similar reaction to as to what we had, when Denzel Dumfries was first rumoured, but hopefully we'll come in and do the business at Everton. Let's hope so anyway. Anyway, I think we are going to finish it there. And let's skip to the top so we don't miss out the top. Forgotten where the movie says, morning, Cam, hope you're doing well. I'm still watching Doucouré's goal on repeat. Absolutely rocket. Hi, mate. I'm not doing too bad. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, same here, mate. To be honest with you, same here. It's an amazing finish, isn't it? Eugene says, Blues told to move for St. Maximum. Not for me. Andy says, morning, Cam, mate, how's it going? I'm good, Andy. I hope you're doing well yourself. Stewie says, let's go. Stewie. Marcel Brand says, get him out. Jason says, hi, Cam, hi, everybody. Charles says, hope not, in regards to the question of the stream. Stephen says, morning, Hammers wants to spend more time in the gym and less time on his computer. He might play more games. Michael says, morning, Cam, mate, morning. Stewie says, shared on Twitter. Cam is right, Stewie, thank you very much. Jason says, I'd sell him, not sure he ever wants to play for Everton. He just wants to play for Carlo. If you can get a fee for him, who will play half the games. Yeah, there you go. Anne says, let's all laugh at Arsenal. Yeah, see some Arsenal fans on Twitter this morning saying that they believe Dominic Calvert-Lewin wants to go to Arsenal. What an absolute comedy genius whoever decided to tweet that out is. That's the funniest bit of comedy I've ever seen in my life. Stephen says, Ahmed has 20,000 reasons every week to feel loved. We want more from him as fans. Jason says, Ahmed's excellent. Really, there were weeks on here, Cam, where you said Ahmed shouldn't have played today. Yeah, true. You're spot on, mate, you're spot on. But there was also weeks where he was absolutely world class. Jason says, on a positive note, Sky showing Everton training this morning. There you go. Jack says, James was tracking back against United. I think people are getting misunderstood with all of this. He played all the pre-season games for us. People need to chill. Maybe. Liam says, morning, Cam, morning, Blues. I'd rather he went, to be honest, Cam. I get he has quality, but James will never put his body on the line for our club, and his wages suggest he should die for us. There you go. Jason says, why would you want James to stay? He doesn't care about the football club. You want a player to stay who doesn't want to be here. And says, I'm as unfit as they come at the moment, but put a City top on me. I'd work hard. Should be expected, not purely a reason to start. Yeah. I get it. It should be. Working hard should be expected. But the talented players have to work hard as well, don't they? Jason says, sorry about my rants. No worries, Jason. Jack the lad says, there's a lot of little channels on YouTube. I don't believe that are true Blues. Hammers is still an Everton player. I don't know who you're referring to there, mate. I don't know who you're referring to. I've been going to Goodison since I can remember, and I've had a season ticket for over a decade, so I don't know if you're referring to me there or somebody else, but there you go. And Liam says, you said it yourself, Cam, if talent doesn't beat Hard work beats talent. He's not a blue. Don't think he ever is. It's no loss for me. Thomas says, my dad got a match ticket, but not a season ticket. He ordered ours on the 30th of June. Mad, mate, mad. Get in touch with the club. Because you should have had a season ticket by now. Jack says, because that's football. No one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Never mind in football. You could be playing for an 8-9 years, then just stop. Yeah, Mitchell said it's an indirect to attract incest. He can't say I want to leave the club because he loses his loyalty bonus. Cam, he knows exactly what he's doing. Fair enough, mate, fair enough. June says EFC need reinforcement, and as part of FFP some players have to leave to generate funds to improve the squad. Hammers and Moiskin are very marketable. Very good point. And Jack Ladd says at least he's letting us fans know he ain't playing. And Somberio says hope he does really need the money. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, look, we're going to finish it up there then. I hope you all have had a fantastic morning. I really do. I hope you all have enjoyed the stream. If you have enjoyed the stream, please hit the like button. It only takes a second. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. We will be back tomorrow with another live stream. Tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. And then obviously Friday, we will have the game preview to Everton's Premier League fixture against Leeds. First away game of the season. Hopefully first away win of the season as well. So, yeah. Let's look out for that one. But yeah, big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments as well. Really appreciate it. Mort says, Hector Bellerin, not for me. Human says, I think Buta can come in and fit what we wanted for Dumfries. Maybe. Alan says, nothing worse than being 1 hour late knowing the stream is about to end. Sorry, my mate, sorry. Thomas says, and he was right wing back, so his defensive qualities weren't really tested. There you go. John says, thanks, Cam, for giving your time up to help us Toffees get connected. I appreciate it being away from the UK. Cheers, my mate. Thank you very much, John. Really appreciate it. Glenn says, Cam, if you were in charge of the transfer window for all leagues, would you have it finished before the season started? Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I would. I don't see any reason why it has to keep going throughout the season. I'd open it earlier if need be, and I'd finish it the day before the season started or whatever. You can say Fiorentina will make a move for Everton striker Moise Keane. I've read that today, but again, we don't know how reliable those sources are. He's just not a true blue, says Paul. And says, it's the problem we had with Mahrez. He has his own fans of him, not of the club. A lot of really top footballers do, mate. Comedy Gold says human. Anze says, on Hammers' Twitch, he clearly stated he was told in isolation for 8 to 10 days and said he should be available the 21st of August. Did he say that? I haven't seen him say that. If he said that, Andres, let us know on Twitter. If that's a direct quote from James Rodriguez, then I'll put it out on Twitter, because it's only fair that both sides of the situation. We can all sit here and have a go at him and say he's not giving enough context. He's not saying this. He's not saying that. But if he's coming out and giving context as to, yeah, I'm not playing because I'm in isolation till the 21st, then that deserves to be put out there as well. Mort says, nice to be back online, La. Nice to see and hear from you. Spot on seam as always, my mate. Thank you very much, Mort. Really appreciate that, my mate. I really do. Human says, Colombians seem to be James' biggest critics of his lifestyle. Yes, good point. Dan says he shouldn't even be in isolation. It's not a rule anymore. You just do a test every day instead. We've got 5 players in isolation, so who knows what's going on with that. John says, Richie Sunak and Reece Mogg spent 5 days at Lords when the world is collapsing. There you go. Politics for you there. No, nothing about politics, me. Jack Ladd says, I could see DCL leaving for Arsenal. Arteta wants him, hope he stays though. Not a chance. Arsenal's a sideward step for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If he wants to leave Everton, he'll be looking at your United, your Cities, your Chelseas, or clubs abroad. Arsenal isn't a forward step for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Stephen says, who was impressive during USMNT trophy runs this season? Definitely. Mort says, cheers, lad. Eugene says, see about the toffees. See you, my mate. Mort says, hit the like, lads. Glenn says, top man, Cam. And John says, cheers, Mort. Big thanks for watching. If you could hit that like button, it would mean a great deal to me. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Massive thanks to everybody for watching in the live comments. If you're watching this a YouTube video, get your comments down below and we'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Let us know your thoughts on James Rodriguez. Do you think he will stay at Everton beyond this summer? If so, why? If not, are you devastated? Are you okay with it? If you come to terms with it, let us know. Big thanks for watching, and we will see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Like I said, back tomorrow. Don't forget to join us then. And yeah, have a lovely day. I hope you all enjoy your day gratefully, and we'll see you soon. Cheers. See you after.